Live from Detroit, Michigan. This is the Honestly Sis Podcast Newsletter Edition. I love my theme song. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever this podcast may find you, I hope that it finds you in great spirits. I am your host, Honest Am, of this beautiful podcast, Honestly Sis, where bi-weekly we tell personal stories about life, love, and spirituality to let you know that you are not alone in this crazy, crazy world. Before we get into this week's episode, I want to just do a little bit of housekeeping. Remember, the best way to support this podcast is to subscribe to the podcast or to rate and review the podcast. 5 stars only. I don't know who out there gave me 3 stars, but boo, I'm a 5-star chick. So I'm gonna need you to go back and update that. But no, for real, 5 stars only. Rating the podcast helps other people find the podcast. And then last but not least, if you want to book a personal reading with me, I realize that I have done 17 episodes of this podcast and I have not told y'all once to go to the website www.honestlysis.com and you can actually book a reading with me. So this is not an activation episode, but those activation episodes, I will make sure to remind you that you can book a reading with me. So to recap, the best way to help support me and to help support the Honestly Sis mission is to, of course, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to our Honestly Sis YouTube channel. Make sure that you click the notification buttons because I will be going live this summer. I'm going to be doing some TV reviews. So if you're interested in something like that, make sure you check it out. The second way is to support it is to share this episode to your favorite social media timeline. The last thing is if you want to take it the next step and really help me financially, you can become a member to our Substack or you can book a reading from the website www.honestlysis.com. We have the lowest reading is $22, I want to say, and then you can go all the way up to $77 to $100. So go check that out. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into the flow of the episode. This episode is a letter episode. And so I'm actually going to change things up. Instead of going right into our letter, I'm actually going to do our deep dive first because I do feel that this is a prominent topic that I actually was very surprised when I started doing some research. I learned a lot about it. So we're going to do our deep dive first. Then I'm going to go ahead and get into our letter for this week. That is all going to be about holidays and summertime and how sometimes it's not the best time. Like you can actually experience some negative feelings, but we don't run from our feelings around here. And then we'll wrap up this episode letting you guys know where I am now and what is the plan for the Honestly Sis podcast, because I have some big news towards the end. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this week's episode. So, I originally wrote this letter about the holidays, but I have kind of redressed it and reframed it to be around the summertime because since 2009, I have experienced kind of my darkest valleys in the summertime. In the last couple of years, it has kind of switched. The summertime has been a time of great blessings. I got my yoga class a couple of summers ago. I just had like a lot of good things starting to happen. So my summers are starting to change up a little bit. And this year I'm trying to be really intentional about having like the best summer of my life because I have not really had a really, really good summer in a very long time. And so as I was doing my research about this, I wanted to look up, like, is it common for people to experience depression in the summertime? And what I realized is that I was looking at literally seasonal depression, which is SAD. It's a SAD and it can be you can experience this seasonal affective disorder. Most people typically, the most common version of what we heard of it is in the winter months, and that makes sense. The sun is not out a lot, and so people are depressed. It affect their mood after a while. However, there is people who also experience that same seasonal depression in the summertime as well. And actually, I learned that it can actually be even more dangerous in the summertime, because where in the winter months you have no energy and you're just drained and you don't want to do anything at all. In the summer months, you can have an excess of energy, and it may actually cause people to want to self-harm. And so I did want to just really talk about the summer SAD, and if you are somebody who is experiencing that, for one, to know the difference between summer SAD and sunshine guilt. These are two totally different things. Summer sad is feeling down, depressive, less productive, wanting to be left alone. It can also make people feel overstimulated, and you can be at a greater risk of, again, unaliving yourself. But the difference between sunshine guilt and summer sad is that summer sad is actually a genetic disposition. For people who are typically used to experiencing depression and things of that sort. And so if you are somebody who you believe may be experiencing these symptoms, the first thing that you want to do is, of course, you want to talk to your doctor. Make sure that you are on a proper regimen to try to, whether that is some pills that you have to take, or maybe even a lamp or something that you may need to buy. Always talk to somebody. You also may want to just try to cool down, try to reduce your light exposure, and then establish some form of routine. Like, just try to ground yourself down. Now, that is about summer sad, which is summer seasonal depression, which is totally different from sunshine guilt. Now, sunshine guilt, which I learned, this is something I've never even heard about, but apparently it was very popular on TikTok last summer. But sunshine guilt is a feeling that people experience sadness, or they feel down because they are not outside. So it's kind of like a little bit of like summer FOMO, kind of like you will find yourself getting like really sad and really down because you're feeling like people are outside having fun and you're just, inside working, or you see people on vacations and you're not on vacations. All of that can contribute to sunshine guilt. So Forbes did an article about sunshine guilt, and they did a survey on about 2,000 people. And what they found was that negative mental health symptoms in the warmer months are quite common. According to a Forbes health survey, 48% of the respondents reported negative mental health symptoms at least sometime during the summer. The most common of these feelings were anxiety, stress. 42% had anxiety, 40% had stress. 36% of people had problems with sleeping, and 35% have depression. I can see that problem with sleeping is hot. If you ain't got, AC, you can find yourself just unable to sleep, unable to cool down, and that can mess with your sleep patterns. Sunshine guilt is the latest TikTok term to take center stage, often described as feelings of remorse for not spending time outside or taking advantage of sunny weather and warmer temperatures. In fact, a Forbes health survey of 2,000 U.S. adults found that nearly half experienced negative mental health symptoms at some point during the summer, a percentage that climbs even higher among younger generations. What they found was that 31% of Gen X and Gen Z experienced sunshine guilt, 33% of millennials experienced sunshine guilt, whereas 68% of baby boomers have never even heard of it. which makes me know that they probably know about it, but they just don't want to acknowledge it. That's that generational thing. Some of the top triggers for sunshine guilt is the heat and the humidity, financial worries, body image issues. So got everybody. I don't know why everybody follow that mean girl on TikTok that looked like Tony from Girlfriends. Like it's already March, girl. You missed out. So feeling bad because your body's not where you want it to be. It's hot, which means you have to wear less clothes. You may not feel confident in wearing those less clothes. Not going on vacations and watching people on vacations. I mean, shit, that's all year round now. And so what I learned is that this thing, sometimes you may feel like, well, why am I feeling guilty about staying inside? For one, there can be a couple of factors. The first thing that you could be feeling guilty for is because, like, in our childhood, we were kind of programmed to, like, spend a lot of time outside, especially if you were a millennial generation. And so you could just feel guilty that you're not outside as much as you used to. What they found is that a lot of the sunshine guilt can come from our early childhood experiences relating to adventures of sunny weathers and other core memories. Another thing that could be happening is because you could just be experiencing FOMO. You could be looking at people. The first thing that's coming to mind is like seeing people at Afro Punk and like, you getting sad that you're not experiencing it. You're seeing this on your timeline. And sometimes people can look at FOMO as a bad thing, but I love how one of the psychologists here, Rachel Goldberg, she says that FOMO can actually be an indicator that maybe you are not really in alignment with what you need to do. So say sometimes you can be feeling that sunshine guilt or you can be feeling FOMO, and it's because you are just in this rut of going to work every day or not doing anything different or, just going to work, waiting for the weekend, sitting on your couch all weekend watching TV, and then you go to work and do the same thing all over again. And so you looking at people on your timeline and you may be feeling guilty of like, oh, well, they're doing this and they're doing that. And it's like, instead of staying stuck in that negative feeling, maybe use that feeling of FOMO to get you to start planning something. I know for me, that's what happened. I was like, I missed Solange, that Afro Punk, and I said, you know what? I won't miss another Afro Punk. And then I went back the next year and I got to see Issa Rae and I got to experience Erykah Badu under a Pisces orange moon. Like, it was just a magical experience, and it all because I didn't just sit in the negativity of that FOMO, but I actually allowed it to fuel me into action. All right, so I do want you to realize this thing of you looking on your timeline and comparing yourself to somebody else or having FOMO. I don't want you to look at that as though it's an indicator that you have low self-esteem or you're doing something that is unusual or something that you shouldn't do. Comparing yourself to somebody is actually a very natural thing. In fact, it's so natural that they actually created this term in 1854 called social comparison theory. And it was introduced by a psychologist named Leon Festinger. And he proposed that individuals evaluate themselves by comparing their abilities, opinions, and achievement to those of others. This theory suggests that people naturally compare themselves to others as a way of assessing their own abilities and social standings. And so this term has been around since 1954 and we're here in 2025. And so I want you to just not like beat up on yourself so much about, oh my God, I'm comparing myself to somebody, or, oh, what does this mean? Does I have low self-esteem? No, it's actually a very natural thing. But what's not natural, and when we do start getting into the low self-esteem territory, is when you start beating yourself up, or when you start talking down to yourself, or when you compare yourself to the detriment that it brings on these feelings of depression, right? So I want you to, for one, not to feel so bad that you are experiencing these things, but recognize that, I think it's natural for us to compare, especially because you have to think about it. We have been conditioned here in the United States. And also, I do want to point out that I did do some research as well. And I learned that like sunshine guilt is not just a phenomenon here in the United States. It is something that happens culturally all around the world. I see you in Germany watching me. Shout out to me. Wait. Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Mein Slash. That was my favorite German word. But anyways, but I do see y'all in Germany. Oh, sorry, I do see you in Germany watching the podcast. So shout out to you. So I do want you to know that this isn't just something that's happening in the United States. This is something that is associated whenever you are feeling a feeling of sadness about being indoors when when there's a quote unquote great day outside. So don't just look at this as an American problem. This is something that we're all experiencing. But the thing that I want to get into is when you are experiencing this sunshine guilt, here's a couple of coping mechanisms that will help you come out of this. And I was starting it by saying, like, about you comparing yourselves to people. You have to realize that, people are, especially on social media, they're not showing their full reality. They're showing you the highlight reel of their stuff. And if they're anything like me, I don't even post on social media until I'm out the country, or like until I'm going somewhere. And so it could feel as though this person is always posting something or always going somewhere, but you just have to again understand that people are doing this to present themselves a certain way. And so when you compare yourself to others, it's going to automatically make you feel bad. So now that you kind of have that awareness that it's natural, people do it all the time, just be mindful and try to like pull yourself back when you find yourself in those moments. Another thing that the psychotherapist Rachel Goldberg said is that when you perceive others as having better experiences as you're putting yourself in this feeling of feeling inferior, and like somehow somebody is living a better life than the life that you're living right now. I say this all the time when I'm doing my activations. When you know that you're living the life you're supposed to be living, it's because you're living it. If you were supposed to be doing something else, or you were supposed to be going somewhere else, you would have been it. The reason how you know that you are exactly where you're supposed to be is because you're exactly where you're supposed to be, right? The universe does not make any mistakes. God does not make any mistakes. And so I want us to just be a little bit mindful this summer as we are on social media, as we are, seeing people going on family vacations, seeing people posting engagement photos, whatever it may be that may trigger these feelings about. I want you to acknowledge it. And then ask yourself, like, well, what is this telling me about myself? Because all of these feelings of jealousy, these feelings of FOMO is just really indicating that we want something deep down inside that we don't have right now, right? And so if it is about, a partner or something that you can't necessarily bring about by yourself. So say, you are sad that people are getting engaged or it seems like everybody is coupled off. So guess what? Instead of being sad that people are engaged and people are being coupled off, your plan, your role is to how to start putting yourself out there. Maybe you need to start being like me, taking yourself on a little solo date every other Thursday, going to a different bar, going to a happy hour so that you can get out of this route of just going home and going to sleep. Maybe open up a dating app just to have fun, not to be like, oh, I'm trying to find my husband, but just to change up your energy. Or you can just look online and see if they have other single meetups. I've been finding, I found this thing in Detroit called Jigsaw, and they have various events for singles to do speed dating, whether it is like a coffee date or whether it's an arcade day. Because I want a relationship, that's something I'm desiring, I'm making sure that I'm planning for it. And so that's really where I want us to focus on this piece of, experiencing sunshine guilt or experiencing FOMO, is just realizing that we do have ways of coping with it. And the best way to cope with it is to, one, have a schedule. Sometimes people experience sunshine guilt and they feel like, they just don't have nothing to do. I know I experienced that when I have, like, in the summertime between, in college, you go back home and you see people doing these things. They're on an internship and you're just not doing anything. Get yourself a schedule. I remember when I lost my job, my Big Four accounting job, and I was like unemployed all summer. And at first I was really embarrassed that I was unemployed all summer and I felt like I had nothing to do. And then I started giving myself a schedule. I started giving myself a routine. I would go walk my dog, and then I would go get coffee, and then I would work on my book for the first half of the day, and then I would do some yoga. Like, you have to put structure in your day to make you feel like you're doing and working towards something, okay? And that's another thing. Give yourself something to work towards. And so I have a couple of trips that I have planned solo and with family. I also have little adventures within the city, solo and with friends. So it's like you can't always, if you're going to always wait for people to do something, you're never going to do anything. And so I really want to implore you, take your life by the horns and stop waiting for other people, okay? The next thing, set realistic expectations. You may see somebody that is going to a vacation every single month. She makes this person, you see her. I did have a friend that literally her goal was to go somewhere every single month. Not in this economy, okay? Just not in this economy. If you're not able to, plan that big vacation right now, in the summertime, maybe plan it in the December, plan it for yourself in the future. And then so that you can work towards it and pay it off that way. And then being more realistic, knowing that you can always plan a day trip. You can have a staycation, which is just literally booking a really, really nice hotel in your city. Again, switching up your routine. You don't always have to go overseas. You don't always have to have this really big, extravagant plan. Sometimes it could be just as simple as booking a hotel downtown in your city, doing a little spa day, having dinner down there, and it will make you feel different. It make you feel like you've actually went somewhere and you ain't even going nowhere, okay? It was just in your city, okay? So just be realistic, knowing that you don't have to have these big major vacations, but you can do little things, day trips. I recently went to Chicago on a train with the Amtrak. Was there for a couple of hours. We had brunch, we went to the museum, and then we came right on back home. So it's like you can try to find little things if you don't have the money to have these big spectacular vacations. As well as for parents, if you can't take your kids on a vacation, really look at maybe Google free programs for tots and in all of these little things. They have festivals and all types of little free activities that the city has to have in order, well, I don't know, we going into this, we're going into a different time, but before, the city had to have a certain number of grants and programs that were allocated to lower income families. And not saying that you're lower income, but also we can take advantage of these free programs. And so just being realistic, if you don't have the money to plan an extravagant vacation, maybe find something that you can do that's really fun, then local, that's in your city or in your state. For us people here in Detroit, Traverse City is not that far away. And so maybe you may want to do a weekend trip up there, or, just try to explore little things, but being realistic at the same time. Next thing, practicing some self-compassion, being easy with yourself, trying to reframe these thoughts. And that was going to be my next thing. The best way to practice self-compassion is, not only being kind to yourself, but talking to yourself as though you would talk to a friend. Finding ways to reframe your thoughts. And so instead of saying, oh, everybody is going everywhere, I'm never going to do anything, you could say everybody seems to be going going places, and I may not be anywhere now, but this is not going to be my life forever. Just really reframing your thoughts. And then if you're feeling sunshine guilt, go outside, take a walk. Instead of working indoors, maybe work outside, maybe eat lunch outside. And then the last thing that I would say is, two things. Practice self-care. I actually had this whole thing where it talked about how self-care can fall into 6 different categories: practical, physical, emotional, mental, and intellectual. And then you could just pick area to focus on every day to just help you come out of that feeling as well. And then last but not least is planning for the future in that moment. So you may see people are going on a vacation, or June is right around the corner. We're going to start seeing people down at Essence Fest, and you may start getting FOMO and like, oh, why is everybody at Essence Fest and I'm never at Essence Fest? Instead of just sitting in that feeling, maybe actually using this time to start planning to go to Essence Fest next year. Literally book the hotel right now. Literally just book the hotel, and then you can start worrying about all the other pieces next year. But it's about doing something in this current moment to help you get ready for that reality that you are looking for, okay? All right, so that is our deep dive. That is all about sunshine guilt and summer sad. Like, that was a lot. But I do hope that it was beneficial. I do hope that for, the 10% or 1% of people out there that do experience summer sad, that you feel seen. And then for the rest of us, the other 48% that does experience sunshine guilt, I hope that that coping section gives you just some tools to really work through it this summer, because I want us all to have a good summer. All right. All right. So that is it for our deep dive. Next, we're going to dive into our letters. So stay tuned. All right. So our newsletter this week is entitled When the Summer is Tough. And our quote this week comes from Kanye West. I know you're tired of loving. I'm loving somebody with nobody to love. Nobody, nobody. That is our quote this week. I know you're tired of trying. Try to love somebody. I don't even know what this quote's supposed to mean. I know you're tired of loving with nobody to love. Nobody, nobody. All right. Kanye West bound to. I had an entire post ready for today, but as I was doing the edit, something didn't feel right. It didn't feel honest. It felt forced. And that would just defeat the purpose of this newsletter. My mission is to celebrate the struggle and let everyone know it's okay to not be okay. We all have experienced one of those days. Today, this week, shit, for the past 2 weeks, that has been the case for me. I know my mood is contributing to daylight savings, PMS, and just overall seasonal depression. And that's just normal. But on a deeper level, I'm experiencing burnout. I'm feeling overwhelmed and anxious and like I bit off more than I can chew. Instead of jumping back into old patterns, beating myself up, and forcing myself to push forward, I am honoring myself and listening to my body. I want to know what this feeling truly means so that I would never have to hit this wall again. And if I do, I'll correct it, I'll recognize it, and correct it right away. I have learned that this feeling of overwhelm is my body way of telling me to pause and to reevaluate, to look at my goals, reprioritize, and put some systems in place. But this letter isn't about me. I'm writing this to talk to you. Before you head out to your families and your friends' house, before you go on another vacation, before you stroll the internet and see yet another engagement photo, vacation, beach day, or a baby announcement. Sis, I know firsthand that the summertime can be tough. It's a time where you were forced to deal with your family members, where most feel entitled to ask you, where is your man, baby, or husband? As though those things are the only true measures of success. As though those very things are the very definition of you. I am here to tell you it is not. What I have come to realize is that our parents, aunts, and our fathers, most of our family members are just from a different time. A time when stability and family was the only thing to hope for and to go after. The idea of starting their own business or pursuing their dreams is just not something they could imagine or even thought was possible. They simply didn't and don't know how to do better. But we do. We are of this time. This is our time. They may not understand now, but in reward season, it will all become clear. I challenge you this summer to do what you want to do, not what's expected. I challenge you not to be moved by others' expectations, by other people's timelines, and to remember where you are in life and where you want to go. To be present and disconnect from the world. Spend time in your own world and with people who make you happy, doing things that make you smile. And if the summers drain you, do something to redefine it for yourself. Just make sure you feel grateful and thankful while doing it. When someone asks you one of those inevitable questions, tell them to mind their damn business. Just kidding. Just blow them off or tell them that it's more to life than having babies and being in a relationship. Whatever you do, Don't let them get under your skin or have you second guessing yourself. And if you need a little bit of extra inspiration, just check off Tracy Ellis Ross' podcast with the Obamas on this very subject. Sis, your life is your life. Don't allow anyone, not your parents, not your man, define it for you. Happy summer. I'm so thankful that we are on this journey together. It truly means more than you will ever know. Peace. All right. So that was our letter for this week. Like I mentioned before, this letter was originally written when I was, I want to say Christmas time. And I also wrote it because at that time I was super focused on IG and social media. And I put all of this focus on social media. And then I got all of these people that subscribe to the newsletter, and I just was not prepared. Like I didn't have none of the. I was so focused on social media that I didn't have any newsletters planned for all these people that I was trying to attract, and so I ended up getting just like really, really burnt out after a while. And this was the letter that I wrote, and so I'm writing this again because I don't want to say that I'm burnt out, but I'm recognizing that I can't do everything at once. Let's have a really transparent moment. This winter was a tough year for me. Actually, last year was a tough year for me in general. Just because, like I had mentioned to you guys before, that I wanted to finish up my book, and I had went to Thriller Fest, and I got all of these. I had got like maybe like 13, 14. I think it was like 15. 13, 14. I just say that. It was like 15 yeses for my manuscript. I queried my top three. I didn't hear back from two, got feedback from one, went and got a developmental edit. Developmental edit was most of the winter time. I got my results back from my developmental edit in February, and it depressed me. It depressed me because I'm like, this is supposed to be a perfect book. What do you mean I have more work to do? And so I was really discouraged. If I'm being transparent, like while I was waiting for the book to come back, I was working on those honestly sis episodes that you got a couple of weeks ago. And then when I got the developmental edit back, I was really kind of depressed and not really motivated, and I was kind of questioning everything that I was doing. There was this thread. I lost one writers group. I'm in another one. Kind of not a. It's not an official group, but just like an email chain of female Black writers, aspiring authors. And one of the girls was talking, asking us like, how is our work going? Are we working on something? And I was just honest. I'm like, I'm not encouraged. I don't want to work on anything. I got a developmental edit. I really didn't like the feedback. The feedback really kind of took the wind out my sails. And all of the women were just like, oh, well, I'm not feeling this as well. And I haven't been doing this. And I'm not working on this. And one girl was like, I'm not even doing writing right now. I'm working on painting. And it was just like this really beautiful moment of seeing other artists just admitting that they're also struggling, keeping this fight alive. And so I end up getting back encouraged from, admitting that I was discouraged. I got back encouraged. But then I finally went ahead and edited the podcast episodes. And I finally worked on my final outline because I like to do a little bit of the outline for my novels before I start drafting again. And for like the last couple of weeks, I've been in full draft mode. That's why, if I'm being fully transparent, I really wish that I would have recorded this episode 2 weeks ago, but because I've been a little bit all over the place, I ran out of time. Let's just be honest. I ran out of time, and I realized that I have to set seasons for my life. Like wintertime moving forward is my down period. I'm not about to try to be pushing out content or pushing out newsletters. Like that's really going to be a me time, like where I just shut everything down. In the spring and the fall is going to be for newsletters. And the summer and the winter is going to be for my writing time. Like that's how I think I'm going to try to structure it. And so this summer I'm drafting, this fall I'll probably be editing, and then so that I'll be querying so I can start this process over. If you're watching this on my channel, I just did the Top Chef. I reviewed their entire season 4. I love that. That's why I'm like encouraging you guys to go have fun, to play this summer, to not take life so serious. And so as I'm drafting this summer, I'm going to be reviewing The Gilded Age and Big Brother. That will be my whole summer. And so honestly, sis, we will be returning this fall with not only new podcast episodes, but new newsletters. That is going to be behind a paywall. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was another thing that God has been working on me. This is also why I want to be really consistent in this space, because I want to be very, very, very intentional about building community. And so newsletters will be back this fall, but the newsletters are going behind a paywall. And so I have to do that for myself, because this next season of the Honestly Sis newsletters is going to be the most personal. I ain't even got to like the really very personal, just because I've been doing a lot of healing. I've been closing out a lot of cycles. And so some of that information, I don't feel comfortable with it just being out in the world, and it kind of needs to be behind a paywall. And I need people who are committed. $5 or $7 a month. It's a cup of coffee. A cup. If I'm not worth a cup of Starbucks coffee, why are we here? Okay, so I hope, I do hope that you guys have a good summer. I do have some plans. I will be in New York this summer. I will be in St. Louis. And I'm trying to plan for something for August. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. But yeah, I have some plans. I'm looking forward to this summer. I'm looking forward to having some new experiences, to talking to you guys about it. And I hope that you guys, continue to stick around. I will admit that the reason why this first season of Honestly Sis have felt a little sporadic is because I wasn't really committed. I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. It matters. It doesn't matter. And another lesson that I learned is that you're not going to see your growth if you don't commit to the path. It's easy to jump around and to not, be like, to be here and to be there. But I think in order to really see something through, you have to commit to it, have a little bit of tunnel vision, and just allow the universe to help you get where you want to go. And so that's what I'm doing. I am committing to this path of Honestly Sis. And so that's why we're setting our seasons in place. That's why I'm still working on a book. And that's why I'm also bringing in this TV review piece, because that's what I want to do. I want to spend my time doing things that I love and that fills me up and that lights me up from the inside out. And so this summer, I'm about to be out here. I'm about to be dating. I'm about to be, going. I think I mentioned it to you guys that I've been planning stuff, solo. I've been planning stuff with friends. I have a spa day planned with my friend in July, with my friends in July. Just really giving myself something to look forward to. I would love, y'all. I need a resort vacation, an all-inclusive vacation like yesterday. So I'm trying to manifest one of those. If I could manifest like a free vacation before the end of this year, I would be set. Please make sure that you are on the Honestly Sis mailing list, because I will be doing, I will start emailing. That's a note to myself. I will start making sure I kind of send some emails to let you know what lives I will be having this month so that you can join me. So please make sure that you join the Honestly Sis mailing list at www.honestlysis.com. All right, y'all. This is it. I've been on here way too long. I'm going to have to edit the fuck out this episode. I already know. All right. Go have some fun this summer. If you can't go internationally or out the country, just please explore your city, explore your state, give yourself something to look forward to, and then send me an email at honestlysis@gmail.com so we can know how it goes. Maybe we may do like a summer wrap up. I would love to know how you use these coping mechanisms to move past your sunshine guilt, okay? All right, last thing, best way to support the episode, please like, comment, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Honestly Sis. Please subscribe to the Honestly Sis podcast. Please rate it, y'all, because that's helped people find it. 5 stars only. And then last but not least, if you want to help financially, go ahead and become a member to our Substack. You can become the alchemist of your life. $7 a month. You can become the alchemist of your life. If you cannot commit to that, then you can book a reading. Or if you cannot help financially, please help energetically by sharing this podcast to your favorite timeline. All right, until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Friend, remember that there is only one you, and that is your superpower. Thank you so, so much for helping my dreams come true. Now get your ass out there and work on your own, okay? Mwah! See you at the top, friend. Bye-bye.